tracking some showers and some thunderstorms right now that are right next door to the west of us over in Alabama. In fact, there's even a tornado watch in effect for parts of Alabama, with some of those storms that are rolling through, and some severe thunderstorm warnings with that line as well. We're tracking these as they are moving toward the east and getting closer to us. However, we are expecting some pockets of heavy rain and moderate rain with this, maybe even some thunder and lightning later tonight. But we expect that the severe weather threat with this is going to be much lower by the time it gets here, because this system is moving into more stable air coming out of Alabama and into parts of northwest Georgia. So we're doing an extended weather update for you here on 11 Alive Plus and Weather Impact 24/7 as we are tracking these storms getting a little bit closer to us. Right now, you can see no rain over us in Atlanta. We've got a good coverage of clouds around, and there may be just a few little raindrops here and there, but nothing really organized or a big coverage of rain or anything like that. Just a couple of raindrops here and there. We had some of the rain that came through a little bit earlier. That is now over to the east of us, over really toward Augusta, out I-20, actually more to the east of Lake Oconee here in areas of Putnam and Greene County. To the east of that, that's where we have some of that rain. And it is not just light rain. There's some moderate rain with that too. But really, most of our area right now in metro Atlanta and North Georgia is dry. And here in Atlanta right now, even though we have clouds around, we don't have any rain moving through our area at this time. We had a couple of light showers a little bit earlier here, and we were tracking some showers in parts of north and northwest Georgia a little bit earlier. And if you were watching us tonight at 4, 5, 6, and 6:30 when we were streaming here on 11 Alive Plus, we were showing you how those showers that were over in Alabama that had moderate rain with them were weakening as they moved into northwest Georgia. And then throughout the evening, that weakening process continued there, with a lot of those showers breaking up, pushing into northwest Georgia. Now we still have these out to the west that are holding together through Alabama, but we expect the same thing to happen as those move into northwest Georgia. We're expecting them to weaken. And when I say weaken, it doesn't mean they'll be weak. Still pockets of moderate to heavy rain and thunder and lightning possible, but we don't think they'll be at severe limits. Now, we do have a large area here in North Alabama. Actually, a couple things going on. The red outline that you see here, that box that is over northern Alabama and back into Mississippi, and when I widen out, you'll be able to see that a little bit better. That's where we have a tornado watch that is in effect for those areas of Alabama and Mississippi until 10 o'clock our time or 9 o'clock central time. So that'll be expiring in about an hour, less than an hour here. The northern part of this line is where we have the strongest of the storms. You can see those storms moving down just to the west of Birmingham, but these to the west of Birmingham aren't really that strong. It's these from north of Coleman to Hartselle, up toward Huntsville, over toward Hollywood, and really just north of Guntersville and Guntersville Lake here, where we have this band of rain and storms that are actually severe. And you see the yellow polygons. They're pretty large polygons because the National Weather Service is issuing those warnings for multiple counties because it is a large area of rain that is moving in. And we've seen some winds there that have been 58 miles an hour or greater. Not really seeing much in the form of hail with those, but that's moving through. Now, we expect as it keeps moving to the east and getting closer to northwest Georgia, we don't think that they'll maintain that severe intensity, but we're monitoring it and having to watch that very closely. Now, the reason they issued a tornado watch, and here again, as we zoom out a little bit, you can see that red box a little bit better. North Alabama going down to west of Birmingham, down along I-20 there as it crosses over into Mississippi. And then we have a secondary line. This secondary line right here was looking a lot more impressive earlier. In fact, let me, let me make this a 6-hour loop, and you'll be able to see kind of what I'm talking about here. This might take a second to, there we go. So we were watching two lines pretty much ahead of the front that was well out to the west of us. That front is moving this way right now. So notice the two lines, okay, here and here, all right? Watch those as they move in. The secondary line is falling apart, and it's this first line that is holding together And that's what is prompting those severe thunderstorm warnings in North Alabama and in parts of Tennessee. So I'm thinking what's happening is this first line may be robbing some of the energy from the second line. And as this line moves through first and it rains, it almost stabilizes the atmosphere a little bit as the second line is moving in. And so that's moving into that more stable air, and that second line is falling apart a little bit more. But here you can see these storms. Now, even though these, north and west of Birmingham have some thunder and lightning with them, they're not severe. But we do have this in the northern parts of Alabama and also into Tennessee, where those are still pretty strong, where we have those severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect there, moving up into southern Tennessee. So this is generally moving over toward the east. We will keep an eye on Dade and Walker County, Chattooga County, Catoosa County, Whitfield, and Murray counties here, as it is possible, we'll keep an eye on that if any of those lingering storms hold together. Again, I don't think we would have a severe thunderstorm warning there or anything, but just something that we're going to be watching moving into northwest Georgia. Now, the other thing with this watch is the Weather Service and the Storm Prediction Center were analyzing these storms as they're moving in and the environment ahead of that front and ahead of those lines. And that environment was conducive that some of these storms had the potential to develop some rotation. But we're not seeing any of that rotation with that right now. So really, over this next hour is going to be the big, thing to monitor to make sure that that weakening process is going to continue as it gets closer there to parts of northwest Georgia. So that's what we're watching. Now, of course, Atlanta, Georgia, we're not included in that tornado watch, but it is in those areas from Huntsville. Even Birmingham's not included in the tornado watch. It's just to the west of them, and then it goes on down to the south and west too. Parts of Mississippi were in that watch earlier, but they're no longer in the watch. So it's really just this small, narrow corridor here along that line of storms where we have that tornado watch that's in effect. I just checked here with the National Weather Service. We monitor their chat online that we have access to. And they are not giving us any indication. What they usually do is the local offices of the National Weather Service will collaborate with the Storm Prediction Center. And, the Storm Prediction Center is looking at the entire complex of storms, but our local office is really just kind of dissecting our environment. So they talk to the local offices there and talk about whether or not this watch should be extended into our area based on what we're seeing from some of the meteorological soundings and what's happening in the upper levels as well. They have not given us any indication that they're even having any discussions with the Storm Prediction Center to potentially move that over. So I just don't think that they're going to have to move that tornado watch or any watch over into our area here as that line of showers and storms gets a little closer, because we just think that it is going to be weakening a little bit too. Now, the other thing I want you to see is the Storm Prediction Center does have a level 1 risk not only in that area for the tornado watch in Alabama, but it also moves up into Tennessee and into Kentucky. And just a small part of that overlaps there into northwest Georgia for Dade and Walker County. And that's what I was talking about. Yep, of course, we're going to keep watching that as it gets closer to us to see if any of those storms that are strong in Huntsville now, where we have those severe thunderstorm warnings, if they're going to hold together, pushing into northwest Georgia. But I really think that weakening process is going to continue. So we're not overly concerned about that as it pushes into northwest Georgia for the late night hours tonight. And again, we do think it would be late tonight when and if any of those storms, are moving into our area. Here's a live look right now in Rome. This is our tower cam there in Floyd County in northwest Georgia, where we were monitoring this earlier. The wind was whipping up a little bit. We had some showers that came through Rome earlier. Roads are still wet from those showers that came through earlier today, and that wind is kicking up a little bit ahead of that line that is going to be getting closer to Rome there in just, within the next hour or two. Here's a live look in Athens, where we had some rain that came down in Athens a little bit earlier. It's now gone, but the roads are still wet in the downtown area there, leading into the northern part of campus here. This is North Campus. There's the arch right there. So again, nothing major happening. We're getting a break in the action, even though we have clouds around. And speaking of clouds, This camera is up in the clouds. This is our tower cam at Arizona Avenue there in DeKalb County, right on the DeKalb and Fulton County line. Can't even see the skyline here as those clouds are covering up our camera. So I'm going to keep watching these showers and some of those storms that are out to the west, monitoring it closely. Of course, we'll be on tonight at 11 o'clock. And stay with me here because I'm going to show you the timeline of those showers moving through, which generally for us in Metro Atlanta, midnight to around 2 o'clock in the morning is when those showers and storms will be moving through, a little bit earlier for those areas to the north and to the west of us. Our high temperature today made it up to 62 degrees, above average. We should be at 56 this time of year. Look at this mild low this morning, 51 degrees, thanks to the clouds that we had around and a lot of moisture here too, which was inhibiting our temperature from being able to fall much more. We should be around 38 for this time of year. So yeah, that was a mild start to the day. We need some rain. We're 7 inches below where we should be in rainfall for the year. This system coming through tonight most likely isn't going to give us a lot of rain. It should give us some, but it's definitely not going to be 7 inches to wipe out that deficit. So I'm feeling pretty confident that we are going to be ending this year with at least some sort of deficit. The question is how large is that deficit going to be depending on how much rain we get between now and also the end of the year. Here's how that high and low kind of corresponds with the daytime hours today. That 52 degrees reading was between 1 in the morning and 4 in the morning. Then we actually went up a little bit. When we normally have our low, we usually see it dipping down around sunrise. But it actually went up to 54 at 7 o'clock and then 53 at 8 and 9. And then we moved up into the lower 60s today. There's that high, 3, 4, and 5 o'clock when it was 62 degrees. And now we're not seeing our temperatures falling that much. We're still in the lower 60s. And the reason is we have a lot of clouds around. We have plenty of moisture in place. The dew points are high. So those temperatures aren't falling yet, but they will during the overnight hours tonight. Once that front moves through, pushing that rain out, the drier and colder air is going to start beginning to filter in at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. We're going to see those temperatures beginning to fall there, taking us down into the lower 40s. So there you see the 61 here. And notice the temperature is pretty uniform, upper 50s, lower 60s around the metro area. It is a little cooler up in Gainesville where it's 54. But look at Rome, still holding on at 65 degrees. That's just because of that high moisture content in the air inhibiting any cooling there taking place. So here's a look at what we're watching. In the morning at 6, it'll be 44, and then it may even drop a little bit to 42. The sun will come out, and then it's going to be a little slower to warm, 46 at 10, 49 at noon. And then in the afternoon, we get up to about 52 degrees for a high, which is going to be 10 degrees cooler than it was today. That's thanks to this cold front that's coming through that is going to cool us down briefly. It's not going to be cold for days and days. It's just going to cool us down briefly before we get back up into the 60s going into the weekend. So let me walk you through the timeline, watching this line of showers and storms moving through. This model pretty much coordinates pretty well with where we're seeing those stronger storms right now up in North Alabama, stretching down to the west of Birmingham. So here we go. This is through 10 o'clock, really just within the next 5 minutes or so. This is a look at that line getting closer to northwest Georgia. Then this is at midnight. So did you notice here how we still see some reds and oranges, but it looks like the line is kind of shrinking just a little bit. Still some moderate to heavy rain with that, but just not a lot. And it's not as organized as it is over into Alabama right now, but still this band is moving through. So at midnight, really slicing through parts of Gilmer and Gilmer and Fannin County, down into Cherokee County here, Bartow County. Here you see it trying to get into areas of Paulding County, Haralson County, and Carroll County for that line coming through around midnight. Then we go to 3 in the morning. So between midnight and 2, pretty much, is when this line is going to be impacting the metro area, pushing through. And again, we'll see the weakening process continuing there with that line of storms moving through. By 3 in the morning, the line's pretty much east of Athens and over Eatonton, moving out of our area here by 3 in the morning. So when you wake up in the morning, 6, 7 in the morning, whenever you wake up here, not only is the rain going to be over for us here in Metro Atlanta, but even the clouds are going to be breaking up, and we'll see the sunshine returning. And that northwesterly flow is going to bring in that cooler air. So as I showed you on the day planner just a little while ago, it will be slower to warm during the day, and temperatures are going to stay on the cool side there, only in the 50s. And then going into Saturday, it's going to be rather cold in the morning. We're talking about waking up near freezing at about 33. But then we do warm up in the afternoon, back up to 60 degrees. And Sunday looks like it'll be in the mid 60s too, or 62 to 64 for a high temperature here on Saturday with that warmer air coming back. So here's the mild air over us now. Colder air is to the north and west of us. Watch how that dips down into our area on Friday, dropping those temperatures into the lower 50s. But it's not going to stick around very much at all. It retreats pretty quickly back up toward the north. And so Saturday, we begin that warming process after starting off near freezing, but getting up to 60 in the afternoon. 60s again here going into a Sunday. Monday, a brief cool down comes back. And then going into Tuesday, we start the warming process again. And when I'm talking about warmer air moving our way, we're going to see high temperatures as we go closer to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day in the upper 60s to around 70 degrees. Right now in our 7-day forecast, we're saying Christmas Day is going to be 70 degrees. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. We'll be tweaking those temperatures a little bit, but it's looking warm for Christmas Day. Morning lows tomorrow, a little milder, 42. Well, you know, not as warm as it was this morning, but still not frigid. 42 as those clouds begin to clear out. And then 33 for a low Saturday morning. And then back to the lower 40s Sunday, upper 30s again for Monday and Tuesday morning. And then here's a look at the highs. Tomorrow 52, so we've got that brief cool down before we go back to 60 degrees Saturday, 62 Sunday, then cooler again Monday at 56, and then starting the warming process again on Tuesday, getting up to about 60 degrees. Now, once this rain moves through, it is going to be dry. This is the forecast track going into Saturday, showing the dry weather here. Maybe a couple clouds here and there going into Sunday as well. We have some rain poised out to the south and west of us for the weekend and also the beginning of next week, but it looks like it's not really going to make it here. This model's trying to show a couple showers in North Georgia early on Tuesday, but we're just going to go partly cloudy here for Metro Atlanta. And then again on Thursday, this is Christmas Eve, southerly flow warming us up with a few clouds around. And then on Christmas Day, we think we're going to be up to 70 degrees for a high temperature and mainly staying dry here. So Christmas week is actually looking pretty good if you don't mind the warm air. It's not going to be a white Christmas. It is going to be a warm Christmas. So a cold start Saturday at 33, then we get up to 60 in the afternoon. Sunday, not as cold in the morning, 42, with that high of 62 in the afternoon, with that mild air in place, temperatures trending a little bit above the average. So here's a look at what we're watching right now. 52 on Friday, 60 Saturday, dry really throughout the whole period, slow warming for the weekend. Then we go to 56 Monday, 60 Tuesday, 68 on Wednesday, and 70 here on Thursday. Before I let you go, I want you to look at one thing. Remember that high that we're predicting for Thursday of 70 degrees. Here's a look at the top 10 hottest Christmases in Atlanta. The record for Christmas Day in Atlanta is 75 degrees in 2015. The year after that, we came close to a record, 74 in 2016. Then before that, the third hottest is 1987, where it was 72. Then you see 71 in 82, and then a tie for fifth place in 1955 and 1932 of 70 degrees. Now remember, I told you, we're predicting a high of 70. So if we hit 70 on Christmas Day, that would put us in the top 5 for the hottest Christmases on record. So we will keep tweaking that forecast for you, and as we get closer to it, we should be able to kind of fine-tune that high temperature a little bit more. If it gets hotter than we think, we might be even closer to one of the hottest Christmases on record. So we'll watch that for you throughout the week. In the meantime, though, I'm going to be tracking these storms to the west of us. Here's another look at that radar, and watch them as they continue getting a little bit closer to us. One of those severe thunderstorm warnings back into Alabama just expired south of Huntsville. We're waiting to see this other one expire and to see if they'll, move those warnings over any more. But we are seeing signs of weakening there as that system is pushing over toward the east. So I'll be watching this for you. We have another scheduled update at 11 o'clock on 11 Alive News tonight at 11 o'clock. So we'll talk more about these storms as they're moving through, and I'll be monitoring them very closely. But it's nothing really to be worried about. Just know we'll have some pockets of moderate to heavy rain moving through, and rumbles of thunder, flashes of lightning are possible, but we just don't expect anything to turn severe with this. So thanks for tuning in to this extended weather update here on 11 Alive Plus and Weather Impact 24/7. Our next update, 11 o'clock tonight on 11 Alive News, and then we'll have additional updates for you throughout the day tomorrow too. So we hope you enjoy your evening. We'll see you tonight at 11.